What's good, Ravens fans? Today, I'm going to talk about where I was right about the Ravens and where I was wrong about the Ravens. This will also serve kind of as the takeaways video from our game versus the Jets in week 1 where we won, but it was not a pretty game. So let's jump right into it. First, we're going to talk about where I was wrong. Fortunately, I was wrong about Justin Houston and the pass rush. I'm going to start with Justin Houston because you guys might have known that I had some harsh words for Justin. I called him old a couple times. I said I didn't think he had it anymore, but he proved me wrong. He looked awesome, and the pass rush as a whole looked awesome. It was super impressive to see them get after Joe Flacco. The pressure was coming from the edge, the pressure was coming from the middle, and you have to remember that we still don't have Tyus Bowser or Travis Jones. So when we get them back, the rotation becomes even greater, and we don't even know what Ajabo can be. It's just so many different possibilities on that defensive line when you see a performance like that in week 1 for a lot of players who didn't even play in the preseason. They looked fresh, they looked ready to go, and they looked deep. The unit looks so deep that I'm not worried about players like Justin Houston and Calais Campbell getting tired halfway through the season, simply because we look so good on a defensive line perspective and from a pass rush perspective. It was impressive, and I'm excited to say that I was wrong about that. So next we're going to go to where I was right. I was right about Marcus Williams. Again, if you guys haven't seen the entire game, you might only look at the highlights and see a Marcus Williams interception. But if you looked at the game, you would notice that the Jets couldn't go deep. Every single big deep route was on a crossing route. And that's because the Ravens are kind of doing something different with their defense, where they're always going to keep someone back there. In the past, we've rushed people and we've played man cover 0. Even though we are going to still rush people, we're also going to keep a safety back there. And again, that will be Marcus Williams' main job. That's what he's really, really good at. And I think that's where the Ravens want to go. And because of that, there were no deep balls. Again, when you combine that safety back there to protect the deep field and the pass rush, it kind of makes it impossible for your team on your defense to give up big plays. And that is something that I saw today, and hopefully I see going forward. I said in videos that Marcus Williams will probably be the best player on our defense because I think he's the best safety in the league. And I said that he will have numbers that show that. And I think when we keep on going through the season and we see the limited number of big plays on us, I think a large portion of that will be because of how great Marcus Williams is playing in the back end. So let's go to something where I was wrong again. The unique offense that I thought was going to happen, I thought we were going to get some unique 3 tight end rushing behemoth that can also go and pass the ball through the tight ends. Not true, not the case. Again, first, let's just start. The offensive scheme was a Greg Roman scheme we've seen before. Not a lot of changes in that end of the ball. Again, we've seen these formations before. There were some wrinkles, of course. This is how the game works. There are always going to be wrinkles, but it wasn't a new offense I thought that was going to be dominated by 3 tight ends. Speaking of tight ends, only one tight end really got off, and it was the one that we thought it was going to be, right? Mark Andrews is arguably the best tight end in the game, and again, he was the only one that was premiered in the passing game. They tried to get the ball to Likely a couple of times, but again, I don't think Likely and Lamar had that connection just yet. Remember, Lamar didn't play in the preseason. Even though I don't think the preseason is super important, they had to have that connection for it to work. I just didn't see that. And then the third tight end portion of it, I didn't even see. I mean, if just going back, if they were going to use a third tight end, it was usually Patrick Ricard in there as a third tight end sometimes. Now, when I say third tight end, I mean he lined up on the line of scrimmage. So again, I was wrong about that. There was no new unique offense. It was the same things that we've seen where basically Lamar Jackson, you're the offense. Hopefully the receivers can do better, like for example, Duvernay. But as a whole, there was no uniqueness that I thought was interesting and different from a Greg Roman scheme. So another portion where I was right was Jordan Stout, the punter. Jordan Stout is an excellent punter and arguably one of the top punters in the league already. Today he was called on and he did a lot of work. Usually on Ravens teams, punters don't get that much run because our offense is usually very, very good. Again, and when we're close enough, we can kick field goals with a high end of accuracy. So again, a 40-yard, 50-yard field goal to Justin Tucker is no big deal. So we're not ever worried about that. However, Jordan today put in a lot of work and all of his punts were excellent. He had a little bit of rush on some of them, still excellent and consistent. And I thought that he played a great game today. I think he's going to be the most talented rookie He won't be the most important, but when it comes to him and his stature among punters versus our other rookies among their counterparts, I think he'll be probably the highest. And I was just super impressed. Again, I know you guys don't care about punters, but today I think I had to do a little bit of punter talk because he was just extremely impressive. The last part where I was wrong deals with James Prochet. I thought James Prochet was going to be the number 2. I thought that all the talk, I get caught up in the hype, guys. I got caught up in the hype again. I thought that he was going to be the number 2. He was going to come out, he was going to play fast and do things that we all have heard he's done. I still think he's a little hurt based on what I saw, and I saw nothing from him, basically. So I still think he's a little hurt. I still think that hopefully he'll come back and be great. But this game, he wasn't, and he let me down. I was wrong about him. And maybe in the future, he will emerge as number 2 receiver, but I was wrong about him. And I think that it just isn't going to be a fit only because Devin Duvernay played so well. He's definitely always going to be on the team because of his return ability. So I just think that he has a chance to be the number 2 just because what I saw today, it was just excellent play from Devin Duvernay. The last portion of what I would say I was right about was Lamar Jackson. Again, I've told you guys we got to pay Lamar Jackson because if we don't have him, the team isn't good enough on offense. And we saw that again today. We saw that without Lamar Jackson, we don't have those touchdowns, okay? Devin Duvernay gets 50% of credit for 1 touchdown, of course, because that catch was just amazing on the right side of the end zone. It was just, I would even say give him 60% because the catch was so hard in the corner, the ball coming down in that fashion with the cornerback draped all over him. Great catch. However, those other 2 touchdowns, again, Lamar Jackson is doing so much work to make sure we get these touchdowns. Also, you guys have seen that Lamar Jackson has had an increased role calling plays at the line. Again, there were some issues where John Harbaugh didn't trust him to get the playoff, but Lamar always gets the playoff. So I don't know where that's coming from, but again, Lamar Jackson is in total control. He's going to do great. Even though the offense wasn't great today, he still was able to get 3 touchdowns. Now, a lot of that was set up by the defense, and shout out to the defense because this is how the game is played. We play together. We play off of one another, and I just thought it was an excellent game from Lamar on the second half, especially 2 of those touchdowns where I thought he was able to manipulate the defense and get the ball to his receivers. So thank you guys for watching. Remember to subscribe and like the video. And if you've watched to the end, thank you because it helps us out so much. Please, if you watch to the end, go become part of our Discord where you can talk to us and talk to me specifically during games. Thank you guys so much, and go Ravens.